In this webcast, how to implement security in CodeFluent Entities. So in the previous steps of this example, we saw how to generate a contact administration website based on the SQL Server producer and the BOM producer, which were used to generate our database and our class library, a C# class library, which handles all the key concepts of my application. And now what we want to do is add some security features to that application. So to do so, I'll get back to my model, and I'm going to add two very specific entities, which are directory entities. And one of them is a user, and the other one is role, and it represents users and role in my applications. So I got those two entities, which are documented if you want to know more about those directory entities and the specific attributes that you can see on the screen right now. And what we're also going to do is, in our instances, we're going to initialize our database with some new instances, a new user and a new role. So here I'm creating a new user named Mike Root with the following email and the following password. And here's a new role, the administrator role, as well as a user role. So now that it was saved, I'm going to rebuild my application, which will launch the SQL Server producer, which will create the two new tables, as well as initializing them with the new typed-in lines. And more than that, it will produce the BOM producer will produce C# classes that will allow me to manipulate all those concepts. So if we take a quick look at the database here, you can see they get several new tables, and among those tables, in the user table, you'll see that my instance was properly created. If I get back in the BOM, now you can see they have, well, new entity classes that were generated. And if we take a look at in the security namespace, you can see they have several providers that were created, and this is very important because those implement derived from standard .NET classes, and those are standard security providers. So this will allow me in my website to handle security with standard controls and without doing anything particular, and it's actually very straightforward. So now in my website, on the default page, I'm going to add a login status as well as a login view. And as you may know, by default in ASP.NET applications, the login page is supposed to be login ASPX, which you can change that in the web.config, but I didn't, so I'm gonna add a login page right here, which is very straightforward. It only has a single control, and it's the login control. So this will allow me to type my user and password and log in as Mike Root. And finally, in the web.config, I gotta configure the fact that I'm using Windows Forms authentication, and more specifically that I'm not using the standard providers but the custom ones. As you can see, I'm clearing all other providers, and I'm adding my CodeFluent generated membership provider as well as my role provider. So now we're going to use the two providers that you saw in my class library right here. So I'm saving all that, and if I open a browser and browse on my default web page right here, okay, so here you can see that I'm not connected. That's the login status. If I click on it, I get on the login ASPX page, and if I type in the email and password, which was passed at word 1 of the created user, I'm going to connect, and here we go. We're connected as my user. So now now I implemented security in my website. And this is for this webcast, and thank you very much. Bye bye.